Okay, I'm going to do the whole dog thing right here, and then I will rally later. I'm hoping I can just save this video. Morticia, one of the Halloween dogs, she's about 2-3 years old. Rosie found her a foster down in Alpharetta. So Rosemary took her down on Thursday. The foster, named Celeste, promptly within an hour or two let her out in her yard, and Morticia escaped. Now, it wasn't super cold like it is right now, but it was still really cold. So we told her all the things to do. You know, I checked in the morning. Rosie's like, I didn't sleep all night. I'm like, yeah, it wasn't a good night for me either. I said, did she find her? She said, no. I said, okay. I said, should I come down? She's like, I don't know. And I said, Morticia will come to me because she's gotten out at the shelter and she runs around everybody, but she'll come to me and she'll come to Grace. And I said, so, all right, I'm going to go down and get her. See if I can help find her. There had been sightings of her, so she wasn't long gone. There were sightings in the neighborhood. And the neighborhood was kind of, a subdivision, and it was way in the back, so I wasn't really concerned about her getting hit and things like that. So, as you know, our car caught on fire, and we do not have the car right now while we're waiting to find out if they total it or fix it. So husband had a rental car for his trip down to the airport to Florida. So we still had the rental car, and I said, can I take the rental car, run down to Alpharetta, see if I can find this dog, and, I'll be back by 4 when you have to turn it in. Sure, no problem. So he had to work, so I went down. I went to the lady's house. The fact that she let the dog out in that yard scared me a bit, not gonna lie. There was lots of different holes for a little dog. Morticia's not very big, right? So I just start walking the neighborhood, and I talked to a couple neighbors that were out walking, and, they had said that they had put it on the Facebook group and everything, and I'm like, okay, well, can you just let people know that, there's a random girl in a red sweatshirt walking around trying to find a dog? And so they were all very super helpful, and one lady said, my husband and I saw her this morning around 8:30, and she was down by the creek, so if you want to go through our yard to do that, because all the yards, a lot of them are fenced off. So I said, okay. So I started to go down by the creek. So, it's forest, but it's just kind of like, no man's land between the houses and the subdivision. But, it's rocky and falling all over, and really glad that I decided to put my Doc Martens on. So I'm walking, I've walked the neighborhood, the street itself, calling her for about 45 minutes at this point. So I start walking the creek, and the creek is probably, probably not a mile long, but probably close. So I'm calling, nothing. I'm just starting to get disheartened because nobody's seen her now since 8:30. So I decide to call husband because I thought all I do is talk at the shelter, so I know she knows my voice, So I thought, well, let me just start a conversation instead of just calling her name. So I'm talking to husband, and I'm like, all right, well, how long do I stay down here to do this? And he's like, do it for another 45 minutes, and then, we got to have the car back at 4. So I'm just talking and talking. And as I'm going down this creek, I see this, shed garage type thing where, you could go underneath it. And I was like, well, if I was a dog, I would be under there. And then as I'm walking the creek, it opens up to a whole forest. And I'm like, shit. Because, trails, the whole 9 yards. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And as I'm talking to husband, a big old hawk flies through there. And I'm like, oh, good Lord. Is the hawk here because he had a meal? I don't know, all the things. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to, I said, I guess I'm going to go hike the forest. I said, and then I'll call you when I'm on my way. Okay. I hang up the phone. Here comes Morticia running towards me. So we had a nice little 20-minute, I got you, you're fine, it's all good, stuck her in my jacket, you know, again, because she's little. I mean, she's probably, I don't know, 15, 20 pounds. So after that, I've got her in my jacket. I start walking through the forest again, and I'm trying to find a way out to go, up the street to the foster. So again, all the yards are fenced in, so I went one way thinking I could get through, and I couldn't. And now I've got to jump the creek, 2 or 3 times in order to do this. So I get there, I can't do that. After I had texted everybody that I found her, and then I texted them and said, well, if I can get out of here, I'll be back with her. So anyway, I finally found a place, a neighbor that doesn't have the yard fenced in, and I jump over the creek with her in my jacket, and I start up there, and I realize I don't have my phone, that my phone has dropped somewhere. It's like, great. So her and I go back looking for it all the way to the back where I know that I texted that I was looking for a way out. So I knew approximately where it was, but that was also, it was a big area, and I wasn't exactly sure how I came back because there's barbed wire and all sorts of things back there. So we go out, we come back. I don't have the phone. I'm getting exhausted at this point because now I'm carrying her around too. So I'm like, all right, let me go to the foster. She had to go to work, but she said there were people at the house. Let me go there. And so I drop her off. She's doing fine with the foster. I mean, she wants me, but she'll be fine. So the lady that was there let me call husband. That was a whole story because I'm like, pick up the phone, it's your wife. And I was like, he's going to be like, yeah, sure. So, of course, he's like, how do I know? And I was like, he goes, what's my name? And I said, husband with a capital H. And then I put FFS after it so he would know it was me because we had a whole conversation about that. So, talking to him, okay, we got to have the rental car back. It's an hour and a half drive back home. I said, all right, well, I'm burning daylight, so let me go look for my phone again. And if I can't find it, I'll come home. And if I do find it, I'll call you and let you know. So I go back. At this point, I'm hungry. It's like 1 o'clock. I don't even know what time it was. And, I have no phone. I have no GPS. I have no credit cards. And I also keep cash on my phone. So I have nothing. So I go through and I go back twice where, and I can't find it. So now I'm just like, great. All right, let me, I don't have a driver's license. If I get pulled over, I'm like, let me just go home, get home, and either husband and I can come back with the find my phone, or I can just come in the morning. So I drive home the hour and a half feeling like a pioneer with no GPS, I'm thirsty. I can't get anything to drink because in my cars, I've got money stashed everywhere. It was just kind of funny. So I get home, I walk in and I said, look, we found Morticia, so all is well. He's like, but I was thirsty. I couldn't get anything. And he's just listening to me. And then he goes, I got some bad news. And I'm like, what? Because I heard him talking to his partner, and it sounded like some work stuff was going sideways. So I was like, oh God, what happened? And he goes, she lost the dog again. I said a lot of words right then. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And he's like, no, she called me because had his number from when I called because she's not answering her phone. It's like she lost her phone. He's like, she did lose her phone. And he said, I did not say any of the choice words. So she lost Morticia again. She didn't want to leave her at home. And she was going somewhere, so she put her in the back seat of the car, and by the time she got to the front seat, she had gotten out and ran. So I told husband, I said, all right, let's go return the rental car. Let's call Sherry and ask her if we can use her car, because taking the Wagoneer down to Alpharetta an hour and a half is not ideal. It's more of a round town kind of car in case anything happens. So we do that. On the way back from the rental car, I'm like, we should probably get flashlights because it's going to be 5 o'clock by the time we get there. And at this point, I'm like, oh, and I forgot the thing. When Morticia got loose, she had the leash around her this time. So it's nothing but brambles and stuff back there. And I'm thinking about the hawk. And I'm like, she's going to get stuck. You know, if I don't find my phone, it's not the end of the world, but, you know. So we're just like, well, if we can either find the phone or find the dog, there we go. I'm like, please find the dog. So we drive the hour and a half. We get there. I asked the lady to come and meet me. I said, did she take off the way towards the creek? And she said, yes. I said, all right, well, I'm going to go park down there because it's, you know, it's a little ways from where her house is. So we're going to park down there if you can meet us with another flashlight because we only had the one flashlight. And she was like, okay. So we get there and I'm talking to her on the phone and the guy's house who I've been cutting back and forth through all day pulls up. And so I explained the situation to him. I'm like, we lost the dog, found the dog, lost the dog again. In the meantime, lost my phone. And he was very nice. He was like, okay. I said, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be trespassing, but this is really the only way I can go in. So he was really nice. And then as we were talking to him in his backyard, I jump over the creek and here comes Morticia. Full on, please don't leave me again. And I about damn near cried because this poor dog, I mean, she spent the night outside. A little dog like this. Anyway, so we found her. I was like, okay, cool. I said, let's look and see if we can find the phone. If we can't find the phone, we'll call it a win. So we're walking, we're not finding the phone. Then we saw that the neighbor had come out again, and he was carrying something, and I wasn't really sure, some kind of stick. We weren't really sure. But then we found these 2 little teenagers that were coming out. So we told them the whole story, and husband's just about to say, I'll give you $100 if you find it. And right before he can get that out of his mouth, the neighbor's like, I found it! So we found the dog. We found the phone. We left. I told the foster that I would be taking the dog home, or at least back. And this little dog, I don't know. She's never leaving me again. That's how that goes. So anyway, we get home and it's now 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And I thought, I don't want to, do a whole dog introduction tonight, but our dogs needed to come out. So they came out, and they both looked at her and could have cared less. And Zoo was just like, oh, hey. And I don't know if they just didn't realize she was a dog, or is she a squirrel, or is she a cat, or what is she? So Zoo could have cared less. Theodore was just excited, and he was just a little too excited, meaning he was jumping up and down and freaked her out just because he's big. And or she's little, take your pick. And so anyway, I went and slept downstairs with her, and she did not, I mean, if she could have crawled under my skin, she would have. So anyway, that's the story. Zoo could care less about her. I think she's growled at her once, and by growled, she just was like, and she's been a complete angel, and I need a purse dog, like I need a hole in my head, but here we are. So her name is Vivi, short for Vivienne. When she's in trouble, I'm guessing she's going to be Vivienne Lucretia Marlowe. I don't know. But anyway, so I did the adoption last night. There you go. All right, gotta go because cop just pulled up next to me. Bye.